Though Duke Thomas has been around since 2013, he's still one of the lesser-known Batfamily members. He sort of became a Robin during the We Are Robin movement, which I'll explain in a bit. Eventually, he started using the name The Signal. Duke is the son of Elaine Thomas and the villain Gnomon. Elaine fled away from her husband and came to Gotham, where she met social worker Doug Thomas. Duke's story starts during the events of Zero Year. In here, the Riddler shuts off power in Gotham City and challenges the citizens. He said that if anyone could ask him a riddle he couldn't answer, he would restore power. Duke was feeling confident and decided to train his mind with riddles and brain teasers. During that time, Duke's family helped out Bruce during a hurricane. This is how Bruce and Duke met. As usual, Batman took on the Riddler himself. Several years later, the Joker kidnapped Duke and his family to recreate the death of Thomas and Martha Wayne. Batman rescued Duke, but his parents succumbed to the Joker gas. Batman then set off for a fatal showdown with Joker. Bruce went missing shortly after. These events led to Duke being placed into the foster system. This had some negative effects on his mental health. He went from a hardworking and successful student to someone who was caught in fights on a regular basis and had poor grades. Dr. Leslie Tompkins tried to convince him to do better and reassured him that victims of the Joker were found in the sewers and that the police was looking for them. Duke sneaked out to look for his parents by himself. While in the sewers, he overheard some homeless people planning to bomb certain areas of Gotham. He was then found and attacked by those people. Luckily, the Robins, Rico and Izzy, were there as well and they all fought their way out of the sewers. Unfortunately, Duke was hit on the head and he fell unconscious. He woke up in an interrogation room. Someone in that room asked him what he was willing to do to save his parents. At first, Duke answered that that was the job of the police. When he left the room, he saw a leather jacket with the Robin logo. Inside this jacket, he found a cell phone with instructions telling him to go to a new location where he would meet the Robins that helped him earlier. He got to help them disable the bombs he heard about earlier in the sewers. So essentially, the We Are Robin movement is a youth movement in which young people take on the Robin name to fill in the gaps when superheroes aren't available. The movement was taken down after a Robin was accused of shooting a police officer. This way, it became illegal for anyone in Gotham to wear a Robin costume. Bruce Wayne, of course, returned but lost his memory. Duke worked together with him at the Lucius Fox Center for Gotham Youth. At this point, Jim Gordon took on the mantle of Batman in a sort of mecha suit. He found evidence of a new villain and showed it to Bruce to hopefully restore his memory. Duke stole this evidence and went after the villain, Mr. Bloom, himself. To do this, he had to break into the Iceberg Lounge, which obviously didn't end well. Bruce had tracked him and saved his life this way. Bruce gave him the lecture he gives to every crime fighter youngster about how dangerous it is. This resulted in a whole discussion in which Duke eventually said he knew Bruce was Batman. This confrontation would put Bruce back on the path of becoming Batman. Not long after, Duke found his parents at a psychiatric hospital. Sadly, they were beyond saving. They were permanently Jokerized. Meanwhile, Mr. Bloom unleashed his scheme upon Gotham, leading to chaos in the city. Duke found out that a friend of Batman, Daryl Gutierrez or something, was Mr. Bloom, so he went to confront him. This ends badly, but Bruce was there right on time to save him, this time as Batman. He offered to train Duke, which he accepted. However, he didn't want to be a new Robin. They both wanted something new, so Duke moved into the Wayne Manor and his parents were placed on the estate as well. They trained and he had his first mission against Victor Zsasz. Eventually, Batman and Duke investigated the Riddler, who was searching for a way to terrorize the city as an anniversary to Zero Year. Riddler had befriended Daryl, aka Mr. Bloom. The Riddler was in prison, so Daryl carried out his orders. Daryl ambushed Duke and took his parents hostage. Daryl sensed there was something different about Duke and his mother. He offered to use his powers to heal his parents if they told him what they were. Duke didn't know what he was talking about, so he rushed to fight him in hand-to-hand combat. Elaine was still Jokerized, but she managed to help her son by distracting Daryl. Duke's eyes began to glow and he managed to take down Daryl. During the Dark Knight's Metal Run, Joker revealed he knew that Duke was a metahuman. After a year of training with Batman, Duke took on the name as the Signal and teamed up with his former Robin friends Riku and Izzy to protect Gotham during the day. Duke uses his metahuman powers to fight crime as well. His powers are that he has photokinesis. This means he can manipulate light as well as the way that he processes light. He can detect changes in light and absorb it faster. Forms of end metal amplify his abilities. And, by the way, end metal is a metallic element from the Dark Multiverse. It's also found on the planet Tenegar, which is the home of Hawkgirl and Hawkman. The way Duke can process light, he can see the ghosts of where light has been. This sort of allows him to look into the past and sense where light has been and where it will be. He can also perceive the entire electromagnetic spectrum. Besides light, he also has umbrakinesis, which allows him to absorb and redistribute darkness. Anyway, he is a member of the Batfamily and he gets his very first solo mission. Several dead metahuman bodies were found in Gotham. In these bodies, end metal was found. Using his metahuman abilities, Duke concluded that someone was creating metahumans using sunlight. This led him to Gnomon. It turns out, Gnomon created the metahumans for Duke and wants him to join him. This is when Duke found out Gnomon is his biological father. Despite this, he still manages to beat him. Now, Duke is still a fairly new character and I myself am not very familiar with him. The only story I've read with Duke is the Batman Wayne Family Adventures, which is really good by the way. If you're interested in Batfamily, download the Webtoon app, it's free, not sponsored, and read this, cause it's really good. I also own some of the Robin War comics with Duke, but I haven't read them yet. I digress. It's not easy using psychology on a character we haven't seen a lot of, but I did it anyway. Duke stayed in foster care for a while and it is shown that his grades started to get worse and he started getting into fights. Losing your villains to a creepy villain like the Joker is traumatizing as it is, and foster care doesn't always help. Foster care is a social system based on institutions or homes for orphaned, abandoned, and abused children. Duke would fall under the orphaned children, I suppose, since his parents aren't actually dead but they're missing. Caseworkers in foster care usually have a ton of work, low salaries, and inadequate resources, which may lead to an uneven job performance. This way, they can't care for or keep an eye out on all the children they need to look out for. The effects of foster care on mental health can depend on the foster care system itself, but an important factor is also why the children were placed in the first place. Duke was worried about his parents and their state of lives, which could have given him more anxiety compared to depression, for example. Although children in foster care do tend to have more health difficulties, such as anxiety, depression, ADHD, oppositional defiant disorder, conduct disorder, PTSD, reactive attachment disorder, and behavioral problems. They can also be 4 times as likely to suffer from a mental health condition compared to children not in foster care. There are several studies that show that about 60% of the people who have been in foster care tend to have mental health issues sometime in their life. According to a 2022 study, foster children are more likely to suffer from externalizing symptoms. This means that they tend to express their feelings in a maladaptive way, such as anger outbursts, aggression, impulse control issues, and substance-related disorders. We see this in Duke since he was caught in fights on multiple occasions. He was known with the police because he showed aggressive or non-compliant behavior. He was aggressive in fights and non-compliant because he went in against the rules, such as letting the cops do their work regarding his missing parents. Internalizing symptoms are, for example, overthinking, depression, anxiety, obsessive-compulsive disorders, and trauma-related disorders. Although it's not an externalizing symptom, children in foster care were 5 times more likely to feel suicidal. This mainly occurs when they have experienced abuse, which is not the case for Duke as far as I'm aware of. One additional note is that suicidal thoughts occurred more frequently when children were relocated multiple times, while also experiencing depressive feelings. The overall health of children in foster care is worse compared to children who live at home. Research shows that the effects of foster care decreases their quality of life. According to one study, adults who were in foster care as a child had a higher chance of being unable to work as a result of mental or physical health problems. There's also a difference between public and private foster care. Children in public care tend to have a higher chance of suffering from major depression, anxiety disorders, and substance use disorders. Besides that, they also tend to struggle more with their physical health, such as cardiometabolic conditions and ulcers. We don't really know much about Duke's mental state. Physically, I'd assume he's doing pretty well since he's training under Batman, which requires a good physique and care. One element we do see in Duke are his failing grades once he enters the foster system. This is not unusual. 1/3 of the youth in foster care have to double a grade, and about half of the youth in foster care are more vulnerable to fail school or drop out. Unfortunately, people who drop out of school have a higher chance of committing crime. Gotham has many youths on the street, which could be one of the reasons why there's so much crime in the city. If you're interested in why there's so much crime in Gotham, I suggest you watch this video next. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!
Whacking noise.